Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on board the INS Vikramaditya, the largest warship of the Indian Navy today. The Prime Minister will dedicate the warship, which is India's second aircraft carrier after INS Virat, to the nation this morning. Unprecedented security arrangements have been made ahead of the PM's visit. Let's get a word from our editor-at-large, Rahul Kamal, who's also on board that aircraft carrier. Rahul, what's the kind of firepower that the ship has, and what's the kind of ammunition that we are going to see on display today? Rahul, can you hear me? Well, we'll try and reconnect with Rahul. Unprecedented security there on the ground. The Prime Minister expected to touch down any minute. These are live visuals we're getting. Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar there waiting for the Prime Minister. The INS Vikramaditya, remember, was commissioned by former Defence Minister A.K. Antony in Russia last year. The Prime Minister is scheduled to stay on board the aircraft carrier till about 1:30 in the afternoon. These are live visuals that we're getting you from the airport. Let's try and reconnect with Rahul Kamal, who's on board that aircraft carrier. Rahul, what's the Prime Minister's plan going to be once he's on board the aircraft carrier? What's the kind of firepower that the ship has, and what's the kind of display we're going to see on board?
Well, Simi, we are currently in the middle of the sea, and therefore I'm not quite sure whether the mobile signal is very good. But the Prime Minister has landed in Goa. In a short while from now, he will take off from INS Hansa, which is the Indian Navy's base, and arrive here at the Vikramaditya, where preparations have been completed to welcome the Prime Minister. In fact, I'm standing right behind where he'll be sitting in a short while from now. A massive display of naval power lined up for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There will be a sail pass that will happen. I can see the INS Virat right in front of me, the original aircraft carrier, the second aircraft carrier of the Indian Navy, the only one in existence before the INS Vikramaditya came along. The INS Vikramaditya is a massive, mean machine, 285 meters in length, 60 meters wide. We will see over here landings of the MiG-29K, the naval variant of the MiG-29, specifically customized for operations from the Vikramaditya. We saw yesterday the shore-based test facility that had been created at the INS Hansa. This is a massive augmentation of India's naval capabilities. It's been running way behind schedule in terms of costs, in terms of time, but it's finally ready. And I spoke to Suman Berry, the captain of the INS Vikramaditya. He says the wait has been well worth it, because the presence of the Vikramaditya in Virat, this has been given the code name R33. That's Romeo 33. That's the name that's been given to the Vikramaditya. It makes a significant difference in terms of projecting India's naval muscle by allowing India to be out in the oceans against piracy, for humanitarian operations, in defensive capabilities, for sea denial capabilities. It does make a big difference. And Narendra Modi's visit here, Simi, must be seen in the context of all the crashes, all the accidents that have happened in the past few months. Very unfortunate, each one of those at various naval assets. And now the fact that he's picked the Navy first and he's picked the Vikramaditya shows.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rahul. Even as we speak, we are getting live pictures of Narendra Modi there landing at the airport. He's expected to arrive on board the aircraft carrier in a couple of minutes from now. And Rahul, you were telling us about how huge this aircraft carrier is, about 20 stories tall, has a total of 22 decks, 1,600 people on board.
That's right, Simi. There will be a guard of honor for Narendra Modi at the INS Hansa. That's where he's just landed. From there, he'll take off in a Sea King helicopter. He will land on the Vikramaditya, and the first thing that is planned for him is for him to be entering the cockpit of a MiG-29K fighter aircraft. That will be a very, very dramatic photo opportunity with the Prime Minister himself in the cockpit. And apart from the obvious symbolism, dramatic photo opportunity, there's a larger message that here's a man who, as Prime Minister, believes he needs to take charge of India's military himself, and he's in the cockpit guiding the military, because weapon purchase procurements over the last several decades have been hampered because of all the scams, some of which were true, some of which were just acquisitions by vested interests, have held back India's weapon purchases over the last several years. And now people are hoping that the era of Antony and Manmohan Singh will be over, and India will finally see increase in its military capabilities in the same manner in which China has gone about building substantial military capabilities over the past 2 decades, whereas India, despite all its intent and all of what has been said, hasn't been able to keep up. And people here on board the Vikramaditya, we've been speaking to several fleet commanders, they're all hopeful that Modi is sending out the right message and he'll be able to now see this through.
Absolutely. In fact, we're getting pictures of Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, receiving the guard of honor upon landing in Goa. He's expected to arrive on board the aircraft carrier in a few minutes from now. Rahul Kavala, editor-at-large, is on board that ship. He's getting us live updates on preparations that have been made for the Prime Minister. And Rahul, as you're talking about, over the years, strategic experts have highlighted several loopholes in our maritime security. This is an issue close to the new Prime Minister's heart. National security tops his agenda, which makes his visit all the more important.
That is correct, Sini. There have been several loopholes and several roadblocks which have held back India's military modernization plans, especially in the context of the manner in which Pakistan and China both have gone about augmenting their submarine capabilities. India has really been held back. For example, the INS Vikramaditya has still not been adequately weaponized. That again is a very big problem, because you've got this big warship, but you don't have all the weapon systems that are required to empower it, which is why it currently has a carrier, it has a support system of different frigates, different destroyers, different countermeasure vehicles, which will have to accompany, which always do, but in any case will have to accompany the Vikramaditya, because it hasn't been fully armed. They're saying that the full arming of the Vikramaditya itself will take a year. Towards the end of the year is when it's likely to happen. And that really shows some of these challenges, because this should actually have been done before the INS Vikramaditya was commissioned, but unfortunately that couldn't happen. Throwing up some of the problems that India's Navy has faced in the last several years, which is what people are hoping will change. But what also needs to be looked at, Simi, and this guard of honor that you're seeing is the first visit that Narendra Modi has made to any military installation. This is significant because this is something that he's doing first month itself in power, in office. And he's coming out, taking time out to be on the Vikramaditya, showing that the Army, Navy and Air Force services are a priority for him, which is why he's here. And that is something that soldiers are taking a lot of relief from, because they believe that is the message the Prime Minister is sending to his Army, to his Navy, to his Air Force, and also to the enemy, that don't take India for granted, because people feel that in the years of Manmohan and Antony, the Army, Navy and Air Force given the cold shoulder, was not given the priority it deserved, and therefore military matters suffered, and they're hoping that under military that will change. And that's the first thing that Modi has done. If you look only at the presidential address of Pranab Mukherjee on the 9th of this month, there were 4 paragraphs in that dedicated to national security and strategy, and that is big because it shows that from being on the periphery, military strategy, military doctrine once again coming center stage, and that is a very, very important, signal and message that Prime Minister Modi is sending as he lands in Goa for his first visit to any military installation. And we're told this is the first of many. He's planning a trip to the northeast. He's planning a trip also to Kashmir, where he will be meeting with people in the army. He'll be meeting with people in the air force. And that's the message that Modi is sending, that Modi means business. And the whole image, and about half an hour from now, of Modi in the cockpit, the manner in which the opportunities being set up really conveys that message that Modi is in charge, he's in the cockpit, he's driving.
Absolutely. The symbolism of the Prime Minister visiting a ship at sea really not lost on anyone there. Rahul, thanks for that update. We'll keep coming back to you for more.